My mother was the villainess of a story. When I was born, the story came to its end. In the past, she was a rich heiress who drowned herself in luxury and pleasure. At present, everyone condemned her and spat in her path. After my father, the male lead of the story, betrayed her, her family went bankrupt. She knew nothing and had no skills, but for me, she was willing to learn from scratch. I heard from the nurse that when my mother gave birth to me, she didn't even know that she was pregnant. She just thought that she had gained a lot of weight. On the day she became bankrupt, and all her bank cards were frozen, she learned that she only had $20,000 left in her bank account. Those funds included money she had received from her relatives as a birthday gift. However, she never touched that money because she thought it was too little. As she stared at the $20,000 she had left in her name, she felt her stomach clench in pain. She went to the hospital. Then, she gave birth to me. While giving birth to me, my mother had insisted on living in a VIP ward. She even said that she did not want to go to a normal delivery room. So, 10 disappeared from the remaining $20,000. She only had $2,000 left. I had arrived in her life suddenly, and when my mother saw me for the first time, she acted like a complete idiot. She was simply too shocked, because she never thought about having a child, not even when her love for my father was at its greatest. After all, she needed tons of love, and only my father could give her that love. He could only give her all his love as well. They had sworn an oath when they were children. I, Sean Quinn, can only love Willow Stanton. While they were growing up, he honored his oath and only loved my mother. When he was 18, he said, "I love you, and I'll love only you." He fulfilled the promise he made when he was a child, and everyone knew that Sean Quinn belonged solely to Willow Stanton. Whenever my mother kept my father in line, those who knew them would tease them, saying, "Miss Stanton, you're so possessive." However, the 18-year-old Sean had felt happy with how possessive she was. Her possessive nature reminded him of a green apple-flavored lollipop, and the sweetness reached his heart. While blushing, he bid his friends farewell and ran toward the source of his happiness. However, when he turned 24, her possessive nature made him depressed. It was like a dipping sauce that had not been made to perfection, but he could not spit it out. When it stayed on his tongue, it only brought him endless suffering. His friends teased him for being a henpecked husband. Whenever he heard his phone ring, his heart started sinking. If a person could not find an outlet for all the pent-up frustration in his heart, he would start creating one for himself. So, he cheated and fell for another woman. He knew that doing this meant betraying Willow, so he kept it hidden from her. In the beginning, he still felt guilty, but as the happiness he gained from his affair grew, the happiness outweighed the guilt, and he chose the other woman. When all his lies fell apart, they had an ugly fight. They insulted and fought against each other so badly that their home no longer felt like one. In the end, they even swore that they would have nothing to do with each other anymore. They got a divorce last month. As the villainess of the story, my mother was insanely obsessive. Whenever my father did not show enough love for her, she would start being paranoid. She called him 3 times a day at fixed times, and she picked out his clothes. She also made a rule that he had to come home before 7 p.m. every day. Yet even when she did her best to protect her relationship, my father still ended up falling into another woman's arms. It seemed effortless, like tumbleweed carried by the wind. It started with brown hair found on his jacket, then it was an unidentifiable perfume clinging to his collar. At the beginning of their fight, my mother had stated clearly to him that he stank. The cheap scent was so sweet that it made her dizzy. In order to hide his guilt, my father had removed his jacket and feigned nonchalance as he said, "I went to the supermarket just now." That scent must have accidentally gotten on me from there. Later on, it was a silk scarf from some unknown brand. The housekeeper had found it in my father's pocket. When the housekeeper asked her about it, my mother realized that it did not belong to her. As time progressed, they started sleeping with their backs turned to